Today I'm going to summarize a book called The Automatic Millionaire, written by David Bach. David strongly believes that you can become a millionaire, regardless of how much money you are making right now. David says you also don't need to earn a lot of extra income in order to become rich. In fact, as low as $5 a day is enough. Most people believe that the secret to getting rich is all about finding new ways to increase income. Well, it simply isn't true. Ask anyone who got a raise last year if their savings have increased. In almost every case, the answer will be no. Simply look at your own life. Today, you're probably earning more than you were 10 years ago. But are you richer now? Do you have more wealth now? Do you save more now? The answer is most likely no. Why is that? Well, because the more we make, the more we spend. How much you earn has almost no impact on whether you build wealth or not. In order to become an automatic millionaire, you've got to accept the idea that, regardless of the size of your paycheck, you probably already make enough money to become rich. Let me repeat that last part. Regardless of the size of your paycheck, you probably already make enough money to become rich. I can already hear you say, "Come on, what I earn is barely enough to cover my expenses by the end of the month, and you're telling me that I can still become rich with that income?" Well, first of all, it is not me who says it, it's the author. And second of all, yes, you are right. You can become rich with whatever you earn right now. I can't stress enough the importance of believing this, not just with your mind, but with your heart as well. This is an aha moment that can truly change your life financially. You're probably wondering at this point what the secret is. Well, the secret is called the Latte Factor. It basically says instead of spending $5 a day on coffee, if you invest that amount, you'll become rich. To be honest with you, as soon as I read this, I stopped reading the book and said to myself, ugh, another financial guru telling me to stop drinking coffee. I am not going to give up my favorite drink for the sake of saving $5. I was planning to return the book and get a refund. But then I continued reading just to entertain myself and see what kind of nonsense the author was going to talk about. And I'm glad I did, because I was wrong to judge it too quickly. And I found out that the Latte Factor is not actually about lattes, as its name suggests. The reason it is called the Latte Factor is because of the way this concept was born. David says in one of the seminars, a lady complained that what he was teaching was not practical because she barely survives by the end of the month and there is no way she can even save an extra $5 to invest. After analyzing her daily expenses, David found out that she spends around $5 every morning on coffee and a muffin and another $5 on snacks around 11 a.m. So every day she spent $10 by 11 a.m. and it's not even lunchtime yet. David asked the lady to guess how much money she could save by her retirement if she started investing half of that $10. She thought it would maybe be around $70,000 or $80,000. After some calculations, the lady was shocked to find out that if she invested $5 a day with 10% yearly return, she could have $1.2 million by her retirement. Her daily coffee and muffin were costing her $1.2 million. This was a wake-up call for her to change, and this is how the Latte Factor was born. Now, some of you probably think that this doesn't apply to you because you don't drink coffee, and even if you did, you would never waste the kind of money she wasted on lattes. If you think like that, then you are missing the point, just like I did when I first heard about the Latte Factor. What the author is talking about here isn't just lattes. What he's talking about is how we don't realize how much money we waste on little things and how it can change our lives if we simply change our habits just a little bit. Your Latte Factor is probably not the latte, but it's the money you waste on bottled water, cigarettes, soft drinks, candy bars, fast food, memberships, etc. Whatever it happens to be, we all have a Latte Factor. We all throw away too much of our hard-earned money on unnecessary little expenditures without realizing how much they can add up to. The Latte Factor is different for different people. For you, it might be eating out every day, or cigarettes. And for another person, it might be a second house or a second car that he doesn't use. In a few minutes, I will explain how you can find your Latte Factor, but first, let's look at this graph and see how investing $5 a day with a 10% return can look like in 40 years. This is the amount of money you are losing if you don't identify and change your Latte Factor. If you would like to find your Latte Factor, then simply track your spending for 1 week. If it sounds too long, then just do it for 2 days, but don't change your behavior on those 2 days. Write down everything, and when I say everything, I mean absolutely everything, even if it costs a few cents, regardless of how you pay for it, cash or credit card. The author strongly recommends writing it down and not doing it in your head because there's so much power in written numbers. This exercise will help you see clearly what things you waste money on. This is where the yeah buts come in. What's a yeah but? It's what people do all the time to rationalize their current place in life and not take new actions. How do you know if you are a yeah butter? You probably are one if you're talking to yourself right now and saying things like, yeah, but I don't waste money on anything. Yeah, but with inflation and all, $1 million won't be worth much in 30 years. Wrong. It will be worth way more than you think, and it will certainly be worth a lot more than nothing, which is what you'll have if you don't start putting money aside now. Yeah, but I'll never be able to earn a 10% return on my money. Well, even if you get 5%, you can still have $500,000, which isn't bad at all. Yeah, but there really isn't a way to save small amounts of money and invest it. You need a lot more than that to be able to invest. Wrong. These days, you can set up automatic investment plans with as little as $1 a day. Yeah, but even if I find a way to save an extra $5 a day, I don't know where to invest it. Well, even if you don't invest, you can at least use it to pay down your loan or mortgage earlier. If you pay down a loan that has 7% interest, it's like you're investing into something that gives you a 7% return. Or you can use that money to create some side business. For me personally, this is one of the best ways to invest because the return on investment is quite high. The author's recommendation is to invest it toward your retirement plan. There is so much advice in the book on how to do this, but it's mainly for U.S. citizens. If you are interested in investing in retirement plans, then do some research to find out what retirement plans are offered in the country you live in. Before we move on to the next part of the video, I would like to show you one more graph. This is a graph that I wish someone showed me when I was 15 years old. If you are young, this graph might be life-changing for you. In the graph, you see 3 people, Billy, Susan, and Kim. All 3 invest $3,000 per year, which is roughly $8.3 per day. And all 3 get a 10% annual return on their investments. Billy starts investing at the age of 15 and only invests for 5 years until the age of 19. Then he simply stops investing and lets his money grow without adding anything extra. Susan starts investing at the age of 19 and invests for 8 years until the age of 26. Finally, Kim starts investing at the age of 27 and keeps investing until the age of 65. She invests $3,000 every year as Billy and Susan do, but she does it for 39 years. Here comes the big question. Who has more money by the age of 65? Well, if you think Kim has the most amount of money because she invested the longest period and the biggest amount, then you're wrong. She actually has the least among the 3. Here are the numbers for the age of 65. Kim has roughly $1.3 million. She invested $117,000 in total. The investment period is 39 years. Susan has $1.5 million. She invested $24,000 in total within 8 years. Finally, Billy has $1.6 million. He invested only $15,000. The investment period is 5 years. As you can see, Billy has the least amount of time and money invested, but despite that, he ended up with the biggest amount of money. Why? Simply because he started earlier. This is the power of time in investing. To summarize what we talked about so far, in the first part, we talked about finding your Latte Factor. And as I mentioned earlier, the purpose of the Latte Factor exercise is just to help you realize that you already make enough money to invest and become rich. After doing this exercise, if you want to take things more seriously and move your money game to a new level, then you need to do one more thing. You need to start paying yourself first. You probably know this concept, plus I've made another video about it, so I'm not going to talk about it much, but let me explain why you must pay yourself first. We humans are terrible at many things, and one of them is budgeting. Budgeting is like counting calories when you are on a diet. You do it for a few days, maybe weeks, but then you stop doing it. So if you don't budget to pay yourself, then you'll probably end up paying everyone else, but not yourself. You must prioritize yourself and get paid first, just like governments do. Governments didn't always grab a chunk of your paycheck before you even saw it. For example, up until 1943, people got their money when they earned it, and they weren't asked to pay income taxes until the next spring. From the government's point of view, however, there was a problem with this system. People just couldn't be counted on to budget well enough to have enough money in reserve to be able to pay their taxes the following spring when the bill came due. Think about that for a second. The government is pretty smart. It figured out years ago that people couldn't budget, so it set up a system to make sure it got paid first. Not only did the government arrange to get paid first, but it also automated the process so there wouldn't be any problems. It figured out a near foolproof way to make sure it would always get its money. No ifs, ands, or buts. But now you need to do the same thing. You need to set up a system that guarantees you will get paid. A system in which you pay yourself first. And here comes the most important part of all. And I am happy that the author talks about it as well. And that is automation. It does not matter how much you pay yourself or where you invest that money. Make it automatic. I can't emphasize the importance of automation. If you only take 2 things from this video, then the first should be paying yourself first, and the second, making it automatic. You are not disciplined enough to do it every month. Just accept it as fact. The author says in 9 years, he has seen many people who have tried to do it manually, relying on discipline, but all have failed, except one person. Finally, in the end, I would like to say a few words about the book itself. There's quite a lot of practical advice, but some of them are only applicable to US citizens. I quite liked the Latte Factor exercise, chapters about paying yourself first, and automation. There is one thing that I just don't like, not just in this book, but in many personal finance books. And that is focusing too much on retirement and talking about how great life will be when you finally retire with $1 million at the age of 65. To me, this personally seems boring. Plus, I don't know if I will be in good health to enjoy that money at the age of 65. I would love to see more financial books talking about getting rich young. Please don't get me wrong. I'm not saying investing for the long term for retirement is bad or that you shouldn't do it. I personally do it as well, but I don't rely on that to take care of me. It's a nice thing to have, especially since it doesn't take much effort. Once you set it up, it runs itself. I am personally mostly focused on getting rich young through creating businesses. But I understand that the majority of people watching this video don't want to do that. And that's absolutely fine. If you'd like to learn more about how to increase your financial IQ, then check out the video you see on the right side of your screen. And if you would like to learn the 17 things the rich do differently, then check out the video you see on the left side of the screen. Thanks for watching.